The Fishing Paper Show is proudly brought to you by United Fisheries, bringing fresh fish to your plate.
Some of our best seafood recipes are those we create when we're in a bit of a hurry. Here's a little prawn dish that you can pull out when friends arrive unexpectedly. A warm basil tomato prawn salad. Into a dish, burst a punnet of cherry tomatoes. This requires a certain degree of skill and a lot of luck. To this I'm going to add about a tablespoon of capers, whole capers, juice of 1 lime, and we'll throw in some lime segments for good measure, and a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, and lastly we season that with a good pinch of sea salt. I've preheated the oven to around 150 degrees and I'm going to pop this dish in there to warm for 5 or 10 minutes. While those are warming, we can deal to the prawns. Pop these into a bowl. I like to add the oil to the prawns first and season them before we pan-sear them, and make sure those prawns are well coated. And these go into a very hot dry skillet. As you can see, these really only do take a minute or so each side just to cook lightly through. Pop these onto a plate. And now we just marry the two together. Simple as that. Warm prawns. And once they're in, mix them together. And now we rip in some nice tangy basil. Smell that fragrance, it is delicious. And you'll find that those juices from the lime, tomatoes, capers and the oil form a natural vinaigrette. And there you have it, a warm basil tomato prawn salad. Fantastic. That is sensational. All right, I was a little bit remiss earlier on. I forgot to bring up the gifts for the shed, and we know that it's superstitious not to arrive on the set with that for your first time. Well, let's just get to the present, shall we? I'm just getting a bit tongue-tied here. Anybody got a prize for me?
There you go.
All right.
The shed is complete without a tin of paint.
There you go. Thank you. It's what I could expect from you, Tony. And this one, I've really got to say that this you probably haven't got the size right. I know you size it right, but I really don't think that you had built this with me in mind.
No, not exactly.
No.
This is a diving-related product.
Oh, of course.
That again was knocked up in the shed. Mm-hmm. Invited up to Three Kings on a trip to dive the Kelly Tarleton ship.
Yeah, okay, well, we've had your interview. That's long enough. Yeah, that's it's actually to hold dive tanks together. All right, enough of that. Okay, Presto, what have you got?
It wasn't a hard decision to make, actually, Crimpy. I've seen your fishing shows before and your old presentation. I know how tangled you get when it comes to knots. So there's a little red knot book for you, and I'm sure it'll be referred to frequently on your show.
It will do indeed. Now, knots, that leads us perfectly into, nice segue there, perfectly into trout fishing. Now, the Canterbury scene, it's quite a diverse and dynamic fishery, isn't it?
It is very diverse, Crimpy, you're dead right. And I just thought I'd allude to the fact of the opportunities that do abound in the Canterbury region. I mean, we've got some marvellous rivers in the Canterbury area, and the unique thing, I guess, about the majority of them is that the freestone rivers, that they are running open to the ocean, and the very changing dynamics they have from year to year. I mean, essentially these are sea trout fisheries, and you can venture to the high country areas of those fisheries in the season and encounter different populations, different size of fish, as Tony's alluded to. You've got different food source, which means that your first visit up some of these rivers in 1 year may see low numbers, poorer condition fish from a struggling, from a hard winter environment. But conversely, you can go up there and find, after stable waterways and just good food source, these big, gigantic fish to challenge every angler.
So this time of year, what should people be focused on? Is there any one particular area that they should put their attention in?
Well, the early part of the season, although it can be troublesome weather-wise, and with a lot of nor'westers and the likes in the high country, you really can reap the rewards of an early venture out. You know, the 1st of October gives you the opportunity to fish the high country, and that's also something I'll allude to, is a lot of the Canterbury anglers particularly think that we have this distinction of high country being a first Saturday in November opening. Now that is true for the lakes, but all of our high country rivers, with the exception of a couple that flow into lakes, which have a December opening, open October 1st. So there's a wealth of opportunity and some fantastic fishing to be had.
All right, fantastic fishing too. It's time to cut to our pick of the week. And there's young Daryl Crimp with a beautiful perch taken on the west coast. Daniel, congratulations, son. You have won $10,000 of free fishing tackle for your dad from Hamills here in Christchurch. So well done, son, for that viewer's pick. All right, and I say that in all sincerity, of course, and that brings us to the end of the show, and I'd like to thank you, my guest, for being good sports, for being with us.
Hi.
All right. And you can join us too next week when we have more fishing action here on the Fishing Paper Show. And for more information, you can email us at crimpy.x@extra.co.nz. Catch you next week.
The Fishing Paper Show was proudly brought to you by United Fisheries, bringing fresh fish to your plate.